What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I just ran across a clip from Stephen A. Smith when he was talking about superstars and how superstars show up in the big moment and they answer the bell. They perform in the big moments, right? And and he named a lot of guys. But you know what, like, and LeBron James, man, for him to be on that list, and I'm not going to say that LeBron James don't deserve to be on that list. I'm not even going to argue that point. But I do think that LeBron James, in my opinion, is a different kind of superstar. When LeBron James came into the league, and he was the only one, in my opinion, I don't know, maybe he wasn't the only one opinion that came into the league and felt like he didn't really have to earn anything. Everything was given to him. But he was, LeBron James, they brought him in already, from the gate. They was, touting LeBron James as the chosen one and the king and all this other stuff, right? So LeBron James over the years just realized, that he didn't really have to work for anything. Like the league was going to do everything in its power to propel LeBron James to the top. And so with that knowledge, LeBron James just, he just made up his mind, or he knew that, like I said, he didn't have to work for anything. He didn't have to get past Detroit. He didn't have to get better, go, like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. He didn't have to like develop a new skill every year or add something else to their game every year. He just had to basically just show up. And so they made LeBron James, they just manufactured him more so. It's like now I think that there's some manufacturing goes into Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. But the thing that set those guys apart, all those guys were, if the NBA had a great script for those guys, at least they were great actors, meaning that they put everything they had into their performance. Whereas though LeBron James, like whatever the script was for LeBron James, he just came in and he just said his words. Wasn't no passion or no action behind anything. Um, I heard somebody say that, like Kobe Bryant, like the referees helped Kobe Bryant out a few games, right? And maybe that was true. But if they did help Kobe Bryant out, if they helped Mike out, if they helped Magic or Bird out, like it wasn't like those guys wasn't out there playing hard and giving everything they had. So maybe like the league at some point in time during these guys' careers had a vested interest in seeing Mike win, or they might have had a vested interest in seeing Bird or Magic win. But it damn sure wasn't gonna be like, well, Bird was just gonna stand there and wasn't going to perform to the best of his ability. These guys in the offseason, man, was working on their game, right? So when Stephen A. Smith talk about superstars, it's just a different LeBron James, a different kind of superstar. He's a guy who the league just told him he was the best thing since sliced bread. He bought into it, and he allowed them to manufacture his image, and he just rolled with him. I think in the long run, once he separates from the NBA and they don't need him anymore, that's going to hurt him because he didn't, um, he don't have any equity with a fan base, whereas though he can be able to tap into that fan base and leverage that. He don't have that. All the equity he have is with the NBA and all of their affiliates, right? And once that's gone, once that's off the table, LeBron James don't have anything. So let me play what Stephen A. Smith had to say about LeBron James. And in my opinion, I just think it's over the top. But it's how the NBA just ruined LeBron James's brand.
Stars and superstars are different. Stars are just brothers that can ball. Superstars are the attraction who show up and answer the call of being the attraction. Magic was a superstar. Bird was a superstar. Julius Erving was a superstar. Isaiah Thomas was a superstar. Michael Jordan obviously was a superstar. Kobe Bryant was a superstar. Shaq was a superstar. LeBron, superstar. Curry, superstar. Stars and
All right, so you hear him right there, right? And Stephen, that that he gets pretty he get animated and everything, and but I don't think that, like, of all those guys that he named, Shaq, Kobe, Mike, Bird, and all those guys, Magic. I don't think, and I think I heard other people say this too. I don't think LeBron James is going to be the one who, like, they don't want to, people not going to take his career path, right? These younger guys already, I think, number one, what they're going to do is they're going to try to, if they can, stick with one team as long as possible. They're not going to want to be like LeBron James and Kevin Durant hopping around from team to team, right? Because in the long run, it really don't benefit them. In the short run, yeah, you can leverage your celebrity and your current the current status that you have in the league. You can leverage that and probably sometimes go somewhere and get more money. But Mike could have did that too. Mike could have did that at Chicago, left Chicago and went somewhere and got more money. Um, Kobe Bryant could have left uh uh Los Angeles, went somewhere and got some more money. Magic Johnson could have did it. Bird Danshaw could have did it. You know what I mean? Like those guys, but it wasn't about the leverage that they had. They didn't they if they didn't average or leverage their power in the short term, and it paid off in the long term, right? And so that's what LeBron James did. Like anytime he had leverage, he exercised that leverage. Whereas though the most important thing I think for LeBron James would have doing is to build his brand, do everything, do everything in his power in order to build his brand and to build that fan base, build the type of real partnerships and businesses that would serve him after his playing career. LeBron James, man, like I said, once LeBron James leave the NBA, because he was manufactured and because he was made by the NBA, like if anybody can tell me what type of leverage do LeBron James have, like where, because you need, as an athlete or entertainer, you need a fan base. Even politicians have bases, you know what I mean, where they can tap back and they know they're getting a certain a block of voters where they know that they can count on this, this many voters and all that stuff in order for them to maintain their power. LeBron James, because he works for the NBA, he don't care about that. He don't care about the fans. And he's already proven that in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? He didn't care what the Lakers fans thought about him. He didn't really and he don't care about what the Philadelphia 76ers fan feel about him. He's not even going to live in that city. He's not making any attempts to endear himself to that community. So, and people say, well, why is that important? Every time you see somebody, a guy get traded or he signed a contract with a new team, first thing he say, he throw a press conference, man, and he introduced himself and his family to that community, and he tell about how much he admired the team and that organization, and he want to be a part of that community. And so, why do you think people do that? Because it's important to. That's just business 101. And even if you once you move into a new neighborhood, man, people come over to your house and they bring stuff and they welcome you to the community. And then so once they welcome you to the community, you take that opportunity to prove that you're going to be a good neighbor, right? And you show by just, even if you're just taking care of your property and doing your part to maintain that, the upkeep of that community, that's what you do. But if you somebody who don't care about the community, yeah, it don't, a lot of times your neighbors wind up getting on your nerves or you wind up getting on their nerves. And so LeBron James, man, like I said, he don't care about any of the communities that he is attached to. He didn't even care about Cleveland. He used Cleveland this time as leverage for other teams. And Cleveland fans, that's his home state, Ohio. They are kind of, they really don't even want him there. They're kind of indifferent. Cleveland fans were saying, if he come, cool. If he don't, That's cool too. And so, and yeah, I've never heard of like, you can't say that with Magic or Bird or Isaiah. Like if they decide they wanted to go back to, like, Magic is loved in Los Angeles. Bird is loved in Boston, and Detroit, man. The way they feel about Isaiah is just, it's just crazy. Like Isaiah is a those, all of those guys in their towns, man, are just beloved. But that's it's not the same with LeBron. Steph Curry, they love him in Golden State, but that's not to be, and that's not something to be like taken lightly. Like when a community in the city love you like that, man, that's your leverage, that's your home base. It's like when people say never forget where you come from, right? You can always take that with you, and you can leverage that when you go into business meetings and stuff like that. But LeBron James, man, everything he have is through the league, and yeah, it's this is like a cautionary tale for young NBA players to come up behind LeBron James, and you know you don't want somebody, you don't want the league to take charge of your legacy and your image, because it's not going to pay off in the long run. They basically just own you. So that's my take. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.